As soon as it hit November, the snow just kept falling here in Lloydminster. I'm joined today by Constable Melanie Flynn to talk a little bit more about some safe driving tips in these winter conditions. Constable Flynn, first of all, since we've been seeing a lot of snow recently, has the RCMP here in town seen an increase in calls relating to people getting into collisions and stuff like that?
We're usually responding to the same type of calls with the intersection collisions, stuff like that. When we see slippery roads and an increase in snowfall. So yeah, we've been responding to those calls this week.
Now, before people leave, they should be kind of checking over their car, as the temperature starts to get colder, as we start seeing worse conditions. People need to get their cars ready for that, and also before they leave each time, you need to kind of make sure that things are going well with their vehicle. What kind of stuff should people be keeping an eye on?
With our big snowfall, we encourage motorists to have their vehicles up and ready for the winter. So that might require changing out some tires. So getting rid of those summer tires and putting on the all seasons or the winter tires. And just making sure if you are rocking like your old tires from last season, making sure the tire depth is good and there is good air pressure in your tires. Also clearing the snow from your vehicles. That's something we see motorists driving around town, without snow cleared off. So making sure snow is cleared off the windshields on all sides, as well as the rear windshield, and then your hood of your car too, making sure the snow's off that hood of the car, because when you get driving, the light fluffy stuff likes to come back on the front windshield or on the motorists behind you too, right? So we want to make sure our vehicles are clear of snow.
When it comes to that clearing snow, I know I've seen a lot of different people from time to time driving around with snow on the front, snow on some of those windshields. I know it's understandable. Sometimes people may be in a rush or it's too cold, but if they're driving around like that, that's something that they will get possibly pulled over for that, hey?
Yeah, you have to have an unobstructed view out your windshields. So there are traffic safety laws around that.
Now let's shift from in-city driving to people hitting the highways. What should people have in their kind of winter safety emergency kit to make sure that if something happened while out on the highway, that they would be able to be safe while they wait for some help?
We encourage motorists to have a winter safety or emergency kit in their vehicles. So that could include, sweaters, jackets, mitts, hats, so clothing items, as well as booster cables, a shovel. Those are some larger items, but having them in the trunk of your vehicle is important. Maybe a shovel and some grit if you do find yourself get stuck. When the weather is bad, tow companies are pretty busy. So having that on hand is always a good thing. Maybe some water too, water, food. If you find yourself stranded on a highway waiting for those tow truck to arrive or someone to come get you, it's important to make sure you have the necessities, right, on hand.
Now, once the temperatures start to dip, a lot of people will warm up their vehicle before leaving. And if you have a remote car starter, that's great. But for people who don't, kind of walk us through the reasons maybe why people shouldn't be leaving just their keys in their car warming up in the morning.
Yeah, a lot of vehicles now do have some safety or anti-theft protocol to them. So it's important to, have that key fob and the doors locked. Leaving a car obviously running and idling with the keys in it, you run the risk of opportunistic criminals who might see that and check some doors. And so we want to work on avoiding those opportunities, right? So not having keys in the ignition is important. So warming up vehicles, if you're warming up vehicles that are like that, stick with them, right? Stay with the vehicle while it's warming up.
Is there anything else that you feel like is important that I didn't bring up or we didn't discuss yet?
Just with the highways being like, we're in the prairie, so we have blustery conditions a lot. We encourage motorists to turn on their lights when they're driving. Even sometimes, late afternoon, it's starting to get dark earlier. Ensuring your lights are on your vehicles and maintaining that safe space between your vehicle and the vehicle in front of you. And if you can't see in front of that vehicle in front of you, avoid passing, right? You want to make sure if you are passing a vehicle, that you're able to see in front of them to make sure it's safe. So just maintaining those safe distance gaps, especially with blustery conditions, is really important and a good way to avoid a collision.
All right, Constable Flynn, thank you so much for taking some time out of your day to talk with us once again.
Yeah, thanks, Chase. Thanks for having me.